Well, maybe. Holy kapla. Holy kapla. What's a papa? What? This is nuts. Okay, so this is not Nintendo news. I don't even have like a roundabout way of kind of wrapping Nintendo into it at all. This is entirely non-Nintendo related, and it does not matter because I just have too much to say about this. This is huge. Microsoft is purchasing Activision Blizzard. Microsoft is buying, they are going to own Activision Blizzard. And this is just, it's just so out of the blue. Like, Microsoft buying Bethesda was already so surprising. It was already just like, what? Holy cow, that's amazing. Biggest news story of the year. But like, this is on a whole other level. This is that, but like multiplied by 5. This is, I mean, like, it's a massive acquisition. Like, the rumors are saying they bought Activision Blizzard for $70 billion. That's, I mean, they make a lot of money. That's a lot of, that's like a Nintendo right there. There's my way of wrapping Nintendo into this. That's like the value of a Nintendo. Microsoft they just bought him. Here's the thing though, this is a very nuanced topic. There is so much to this. There's just the whole entire thing. There's a lot we don't know. There's a lot we're not gonna know for a long time. And there's so much going on. I am not an expert. This right here is just my initial take. This is basically all I can do. So much more is gonna come out of this. So much more we're gonna learn about later. But at the moment, all I can do is just say, okay, these are my initial thoughts of this crazy thing happening. So the first thing I'll say is just like strictly conceptually, just like on paper, it seems like a good fit. You know, I would say Activision Blizzard's, especially Blizzard's IPs, just they mesh with Microsoft. They mesh with a lot of the stuff that Microsoft has already been doing. Like, I can so easily see Overwatch as a Microsoft thing. And then like Microsoft really has been trying to get into like family-friendly stuff, pretty much like starting with like Xbox One. You know, they've got their properties. They like that kind of like family-friendly, not necessarily kiddie, but like kind of works for everyone thing. And now they've got Crash and Spyro. Like, that's pretty cool. I mean, Activision brought back Crash just to kill him again. You know, they gave him his big revival, and then they were like, okay, now we're shutting down everything, and everybody's working on Call of Duty instead. So, like, if anything, this gives Crash some hope again. For all we know, Microsoft might have plans for Crash and Spyro. I don't know, whatever. I'm just saying, the whole thing, it works. As weird as it is, I can see it. The biggest thing, though, the biggest thing anybody's mind turns to is exclusivity. When Microsoft bought Bethesda, there was this whole thing where it's like, are they gonna make all the Bethesda games exclusive in the future? And there was like part of us, it's like, I mean, that's too weird, right? Like, just that's too weird. It limits the audience. But like, no, that's exactly what they did. That's why they bought them. You know, like, Microsoft plays nice. You know, they're not super duper greedy. You know, they've got games on other systems and platforms and stuff like that. But like, for the most part though, like, yeah, Elder Scrolls 6 is gonna be, it's gonna be a Microsoft thing. And I see a lot of people talking about this here, how like, oh, I mean, they couldn't. Call of Duty is too big. It's too big and it makes too much money across all platforms. But it's like, nah, you don't spend $70 billion and not take these as exclusives. Because the thing is like, yeah, they're gonna lose money in the short term by saying like, okay, I mean, like, we don't know if this does happen, when it will. We don't know. Will it take a few years to roll out? Who knows? I assume it will happen though, and when it happens, sure, they will make less money than they would if Call of Duty was on every system, but like, $70 billion is long-term money. That's just what it is. This is a long-term thing. Microsoft wants this to be their thing. And this is what's so fascinating about this. Like, so fascinating. This is a big blow to Sony. Because like, Microsoft and Sony have been rivals for a long time, and multiplats were kind of the great equalizer. You know, the thing that like, no matter what, both of them are making money on their multiplats, and like, that's cool. Call of Duty was always one of the biggest one. It's like the biggest game every year, and it's just still, I mean, like, there's controversies and stuff, but like, it's still selling incredibly well. When Microsoft bought Bethesda, that was more like, okay, that is a thing that lifts up Microsoft's own library in a way that seemed more positive for them, less like taking away from other people. This is not that way. Like, taking Call of Duty and Overwatch and all that stuff away from PlayStation, that is a direct blow to their competition. That is huge. When it comes to like which console people end up choosing in any given generation, this is the kind of thing that can push a lot of people over the edge. There's a ton of people. You know why Call of Duty sells so well? Tons and tons and tons of people, millions of people that don't even really play video games. They just play Call of Duty. You know, like that's kind of their thing. And those people are gonna be like, oh, look at that. It's not on PlayStation anymore. Better get an Xbox. I don't know, just, it's huge. Like, the Bethesda acquisition was like a strategic acquisition. This is like all out war. This is huge. And gosh, all the other stuff, Diablo, Overwatch, like it's just these things that were already so popular are currently so popular. Just like, boom, there it is. Microsoft, Xbox, there you go. And it just especially moving forward, just in the long term, like it's, I don't know. It's big. It's a big deal is what I'm trying to say. Now, in response to this acquisition, I'm seeing a lot of people with a certain fear. And I will say, this fear is 100% justified. Absolutely. It's this fear that Microsoft is becoming a gaming monopoly. You know, they're turning into Disney, just buying up everything. And that's never usually a good thing. Normally, giants eating other giants is not a good thing for anyone. And of course, being such a big company that owns so many things, that gives them more power, and that means that down the line they can abuse that power and all that stuff. So like, I get it. I completely and utterly get anyone who thinks this is totally gross. Me personally, I'm feeling a little more optimistic about this. I am currently kind of at this let's wait and see phase. I ain't gonna shill for anyone. I ain't gonna shill for Microsoft. Big corporations are not your friend, no matter what. At the end of the day, that is a constant of the universe. And like, Microsoft has indeed messed up a lot, but like, it's like we keep saying, they have been working really hard over these last few years to just create a platform and an ecosystem that's very, very consumer friendly. They're like the most consumer friendly company in gaming right now. Phil Spencer is awesome and seems like a really cool, genuine guy, and he's been making an effort to be in all the right conversations, you know, addressing all of this stuff. Game Pass is an incredible value, and obviously it's about to get even more incredible. Like, it's kind of like the current good guy of gaming bought the current villain. You know what I mean? Like, the people who have been making the news for being the coolest are buying the people who are making the news for being the most terrible. So, I mean, I would say, like, even if giants eating giants is not usually a good thing for the consumer, out of all of the giants eating giants scenarios we could have seen, this is probably, like, the best one. It's probably the best we could have hoped for. And it's funny because, in general, I am a pretty wary consumer. You know, like, I very much believe in voting with your wallet and all that stuff. And these big gaming monopoly corporations are very scary, but, it's very funny. I am frequently torn between myself as a consumer, that wary consumer, torn between that and my intense interest in business and just like the gaming industry as a whole. This whole thing is just so much fun. This is just such an interesting turn of events in the story that is the gaming industry right now. And here's the thing, I cannot fault Microsoft for doing what they did, because if I were Microsoft, I were in their exact position, and my biggest weakness was a lack of big exclusives, and I had a whole bunch of money, I'd do the exact same thing they did. I'm telling you, I would do the exact same thing. Like, I know in so many ways capitalism is just destroying everything, but like, I do have a capitalist streak in me, and I think business is really interesting, and people criticize companies for just kind of throwing money at a problem, you know? But like, that's what I would do. It's a multi-billion-dollar company, and I had a bunch of, like, this is exactly what I would do. Because that's the thing, this is a competition. It really is. Microsoft is competing against other companies. That's just, that's just the reality of it. It kind of is a game for all of them, at least in a sense. You know, there's camaraderie and all that stuff, but like, this was a pro-Microsoft move. If I were Microsoft, I would want to make a move like this. And honestly, it's what I keep hoping Nintendo will do. I know, and a lot of people don't think that's how you solve a problem, and that's fine. And Nintendo themselves, they even said they're not interested in just throwing money around, buying up studios. But just like, the thing is, especially if you're in a situation like Microsoft, where you find yourself with this big platform and really just not a lot of games, not a lot of exclusives, not a lot of reason to get people onto your ecosystem, building up, creating IPs and building up studios, that takes a long time. That can take generations to get rolling. This is a way, just throwing out the money is a way for Microsoft to just get on the ball and get on it fast. You know, last generation, they started buying up lots of studios, lots of indies and all that stuff, and now they're finally producing games from them, and this is the next step of that. Will this end up benefiting any companies or any consumers in the long run? You know, are they just gonna create a monopoly and then jack up the price of Game Pass by $1,000 and everything's terrible? I don't really know. But at the moment, things are looking pretty darn good for people who have got an Xbox. I mean, like, Game Pass is already wowing everyone. It's just, this is yet another thing. All the Bethesda games are on there. Now, if all the Activision Blizzard games are gonna be on there, like, that's incredible. And of course, we have to mention, if you're talking about this whole entire thing, it is extra surprising, extra left field, this all happening amidst all of this controversy with Activision Blizzard. There are probably plenty of my viewers who don't really know about any of it, but I'm not gonna go into it. You can go look at stuff. Basically, the company's just been self-destructing, you know, just years and years of awful abuse, and it's all been coming out. It's a total mess right now. Like, Activision Blizzard was a sinking ship. They still had the money, they still had the IPs, but the lawsuits are mounting, PR is terrible, people are leaving the company like crazy. And this, honestly, is the best thing that could have happened to them. This is the best thing they could have possibly hoped for. No one wanted to work with them anymore. They needed some sort of major shakeup. I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft gave them an ultimatum. They were just like, hey, we're not gonna publish your games anymore unless you let us buy you. I don't know, wouldn't surprise me. And the thing about this, though, is like, this is another super much, very justified fear, especially because we're getting this from actual Activision Blizzard employees. A lot of people are afraid that all of this stuff is gonna kind of just get lost in the shuffle, just kind of swept under the rug, like, oh, we don't really need to address these problems anymore because Microsoft bought them, so like, everything's fine now, we're looking to the future, like, you know, and like, yeah, I could see that happening. You know, like, the acquisition is just wiping everything clean, and that's really just not the case at all. And I'm not gonna pretend to know enough about any of this, but from my outsider perspective, if that's worth literally anything, at least in this moment, I am feeling hopeful that Microsoft will help, or could help, because they don't want to acquire a PR disaster like this. To me, you don't make a move like this unless you're gonna clean up shop, you know? It only benefits Microsoft to clean up this mess. I mean, they were getting in trouble with the government. Like, we can't, you don't want to mess with that stuff. It only benefits Microsoft to just kind of fix this and be seen as the good guy in the process, and to be seen as a champion of workplace equality and all that stuff. Like, Activision Blizzard was kind of in a place where it could not change. Like, even amidst all this stuff, nothing was changing because the leadership was making too much money, and the leadership is just rotten from top to bottom. I know it's a bit of an extreme thing for Arlo to say, but it's true. It's just all of the people running that company who are making all of the money, no one's budging because nobody wants to lose their money. If no one wants to give up their power, someone taking power from them might be the only way to kind of untangle this knot they've created, you know? And it might be the one way to get rid of a person like Bobby Kotick, who's just like the ringleader of all of this awfulness, and at least according to early reports, it seems that he's going to stay on until the deal is completely done, which will be sometime next year, and then he'll leave. And it's like, yeah, he owns a lot of the company. He's going to get tons of money for this whole entire thing. We never doubted that he was going to get away with a bunch of money and get away with his literal crimes. Never doubted that. We want him out of there. It's a token gesture at this point. We don't even know if it means anything. It's kind of disappointing that, Phil didn't go in there and just kick him out on the street like first thing, just get out of here, we don't want you in here anymore. But it's a big bureaucracy thing, because, like I said, because that leadership is so cemented and so they're just hanging on, they're clinging on so dearly that, yeah, it's not surprising that they couldn't just fix everything instantly. But I don't know, I guess I'm just saying I'm feeling at least a little bit hopeful that this could help improve things. There are a lot of just things that could come out of this, and only time will tell what this all really means for both companies and even for us. But right now, there is one thing we can say for sure. Holy blah! What the heck? Holy putzpah! You know what I'm saying? It's nuts. It's nuts. You hear that, plant? It's nuts. It's nuts. It's crazy. Well, anyway, let me know what you think about all this down in those comments. And crazy. It's nuts. It's weird. It's weird. It's just weird, okay? This is a weird thing.